Lyrically, it's more aggression, and musically, we try to be very melodic, but it's very thrashy. So our songs are very much riff based, very much from the 80s, 90s. We are very much influenced by bands like Metallica, Pantera, Megadeth, Slayer, stuff like
Um, how was the band formed? Like, since you guys are an old band, so story bit
एक pre-recorded ऐसा sound रहता है
For history on the band. Check
Okay,
this
what,
video.
are you off or are you on? You're off.
Are you rolling? Are you rolling right now?
Yeah, that can be another.
Put it off. I mean, you're wasting. I said, we have done all this like long. Do you have like anything new or different to ask?
No, but it's gonna
No, no,
cater
it's
to
gonna-
the.
yeah.
It's gonna cater a lot. Yeah,
It's gonna be on a DVD.
So for a newbie, it will be like a first time.
Yeah.
What is that? That's why. As much as we hate it, we want to say it. So.
what has the story been for the band? From give us a brief history of how you guys started and how it is right now.
I forgot. Okay. Back in the mid 90s, I used to go for a lot of rock shows. I used to know a lot of rockers. So there was this feeling of, there's a lot of metal happening that time. A lot of guys with long hair. So there was this thing of being, very cool to be in a rock band, tight jeans and black t-shirt and stuff. And everybody was into the metal thing. IROC was big that time. There were a lot of bands that time which we used to go for rock shows, like Thor, Rust Angels, Pentagram, Brahma. There was Millennium from Bangalore. So these guys to really, the bands to really mesmerize us. We used to go for the shows at IROC and a lot of college events like IIT Bombay and stuff. And that time, that whole thing was happening, the whole metal revolution. So that's when we just got together. I started the idea around late 1998, and then I got Aniket first. So the drummer and my bass player, we got together. We got this jamming pattern on Andheri. That was sometime in December 1998, and we just started jamming. We were trying to do our favorite songs, favorite riffs, and we were trying to look for a lead guitar player. As soon as we got one guy, within 20 days of started jamming, we got to this competition for IIT Bombay. That was again December 98, and that's how we started. The ball started rolling, and then from there on, we started doing shows at Raz. We used to go there very regularly to see a lot of bands, and then we started playing there regularly. We started with opening for bands like Naked Earth and other bands, and that's how we started developing a fan base where people who really love thrash metal started coming and supporting us a lot. So that's how we started on along after a lot of lead guitar player change. Gilroy joined the band like 4 years back, so he's in with us. Has been a very formidable lineup, and we really enjoy our stuff right now. That way, it's been very tight, very much rhythm based, very much riffy, and just the kind we wanted it to be.
What are the influences on the band? When genre wise, maybe you guys are influenced by some other form like jazz or something, and even the bands that you guys like personally.
We'll go one by one. Start with Frank. You can talk about your
Genre wise, I'm very confused still. I have started off playing with punk bands and everything. Then I shifted from punk to thrash metal. Then I went suddenly to death metal. I came back to thrash, and I'm been basically running around thrash metal. So I think this is the music that I like. I'm very much influenced by bands like Slayer and other death metal bands like Cannibal Corpse and everything. Very much influenced by such kind of bands.
Yeah, so I'm basically a fan of the 80s, the 90s, and I like the old school rock, old school thrash metal scene a lot. And since day one, I've always been a thrash metal lover, especially bands like Metallica. They've been my number one influence, and of course bands like Slayer, Sepultura, Pantera, the usual thrash metal gods, Anthrax, and all these guys. They influenced me a lot. And as a band, we got all these influences plus their own individual influences. That's what makes us give out the best in our compositions.
For me, music was very varied when it started, but then when I got to the grunge revolution, it was like more like Nirvana, Guns N' Roses, and Bon Jovi, the early 90s, mid 90s stuff. But I got to hear this album called Chaos AD by Sepultura. And when I heard that album, I don't know what hit me. It was like really brutal and really raw. And the lyrics made a lot of sense to me because that was actually what we were going through back then in India, in Bombay. So I really connected very well to that kind of music. From Sepultura, I got to heavily into Slayer. And then slowly the Metallica albums and all that. So I really got into that thrash thing mid 90s that time, and then I got this huge group of friends who were heavily into that kind of music. So it all started from there. So basically, all those the big four thrash metal bands were like my favorite bands at that time, and that's how it started. From there, I got into different stuff like Dream Theater, Slipknot, a lot of new bands, a lot of old bands, a lot of stuff like Sting and the Police. Then currently, I listen to a lot of Pink Floyd and Beatles. So there's a lot of variety now coming in the music, and but on stage, I love and I prefer playing thrash metal, as in the riffs and the singing.
Yeah.
Wake up.
Basically, I got into a lot of mainstream metal when I was in the sixth standard. So we started with a lot of Def Leppard and Scorpions, Bon Jovi, the usual stuff. This friend of mine actually one day came up to me and he gave me a cassette which actually said Metallica. He got too too blown away by the music. He couldn't really take that music. He came to me and gave me this cassette, and he just told me to just go home and just listen to it and keep the cassette for yourself. And that's when it actually got me started with purely into heavy metal, thrash, proper speed thrash metal. In fact, now I listen to a lot more of different music, a lot of heavy stuff. In fact, a lot of metalcore music. What I'm into, a lot of death metal, a lot of melodic death metal as well. What I listen to. But the mainly influences Metallica number one. Whatever happens, a lot of other thrash metal bands as well. But now, in fact, I'm into a lot more of bands like Lamb of God. A lot more into also as I lay dying and stuff. So that basically the metalcore revolution, which is my kind of music right now.
Okay. What are the lyrical influences of the band? Like, do you guys write upon any particular topic like politics or war or whatever it is?
I guess it's different for each and every song.
So basically a mix of everything. Like you can take a song called Nuclear. It's an anti-war song. There's a song called Chart, which is against nicotine, and loads of other stuff that you usually go through in your life. You can actually bifurcate every song right now, but of course all our songs are theme-based. We just don't write some random shit that comes to our mind. It is something relevant and something which is involving everybody.
Songs which have political influences, the songs which are personal also, shit that we go through in life and what we've been through in life, what is around us, what is happening. So more or less the whole political system controls a human being in any country or any state. So more or less it's all about the angst against the system, against the policies and stuff that way. And there are a few personal songs which is like more or less a tribute to your favorite band or favorite kind of music that way. So it's a mixed variety. No love songs yet.
Are you guys influenced by classical music in any way? Like being from India, do you guys see yourself being influenced by Indian classical to be particular? To be
Not
precise?
really. Not really.
I started off playing the tabla at a very young age.
Same here.
I played tabla for almost 9 years professionally. And I still play, but not for metal bands. I still play, and sometimes I play it at home and everything. But I guess I was brought up in a classical background when I was small. And I still listen to a lot of classical music from time to time.
I have to listen to it because it's my profession. I run a shop where I have to listen to loads of stuff every day, be it classical, be it whatever, Bollywood or whatever. So that's part of my business. But with all due respect, that it's a great form of music. To somebody who likes it, it's great.
Is Scepter influenced by?
No, not really. That's not our forte, absolutely whatsoever.
I guess for classical thing, you need to be first of all trained at a very young age, and I think it's your education. So we haven't been educated musically. Whatever we learn on the way, on the road. Everything's been picked up, by self-learning and riffs from other bands and stuff. Like we done our favorite songs and also more or less our music is based on that, and that's how I guess all rock bands all over the world have evolved. Playing their own stuff. Because if we had got into a classical thing, the music would have been different. What we play today would have been different. It would have been like a amalgamation of rock with something else that way, which we haven't done as yet.
Okay. Are you guys influenced? Not influenced. Do you guys like any Indian bands that you see in the scene? you see a lot of potential in them, or they, with all due respect, like you mentioned, Millennium, like who have influenced you in your formative years and even today?
I guess the first band that I ever saw in India, at least performing live, which totally changed my mind as in life when it comes to performing on stage. This when I saw Moksha perform at IIT Powai, that is when I decided that this is exactly what I want to do. And that was a band that definitely got me all excited about doing what they do on stage, performing music and everything. Sadly, Leon passed away. Band is no more. But all due respect, Moksha, one of the best, very good bands in the country.
For me, it might sound a bit rude and cocky, but for me, there has only been one favorite band, that is Scepter. I have never endorsed or liked any other Indian band. I may sound a bit rude and whatever, but I don't give a shit seriously. I've never liked any band apart from Scepter. But there was a band called Millennium, which got me going with all this thrash and all. So I want to mention specially that band has really influenced me as far as Indian influences are concerned.
I guess Scepter's done one of the best mosh pit shows, like the kind of shows that any rock fanatic would love to visit. So we've done those kind of shows. So Scepter has been like done those good big shows that way. We've been waiting for a lot of big shows to happen, and we slightly try to turn away from the small club gigs, where the sound doesn't happen or the band's potential doesn't come out like how we want it to be, presented that way. But before Scepter, there were a lot of bands which influenced us, like Parikrama mainly. They had an awesome stage presence like 10 years back. Everybody had long hair, good sound, good tone, good engineers, and everything was like perfectly perfect, including the songs and all that. So Parikrama influenced me a lot to get into that professional thing of playing and being tight and having a good stage act. And a lot of other bands like Millennium and Rust Angels and other bands.
Since you guys have been in the scene for a long time, uh, over the years there has been our female artists are slowly coming up, but not the way it is in the West. So, do you think it has something to do with the mindset, or what do you
Female
think?
artists.
Yeah, like Yasmin and Mindsnare.
Before also there were quite a lot of them because I remember there was this girl called Nikita who used to play for Demonic Resurrection the keyboards. I think she was one of the first girls that I have seen rocking out on stage. Then there was one more girl,
Shazni
in Zero. She was there. So I mean, since long time there were girls in the metal scene. Not exactly.
I really don't think it's about the mindset.
It's not about the
because
mindset.
People have accepted them in open arms. Not literally.
Not literally.
As much as
They
they
were
would have.
literally also.
So it's not about the mindset, but it's good.
I guess no girls are showing up yet. It's time the girls wake up.
Yeah, there is no definite mindset. I think if somebody is good on stage, a guy or a girl, whether she or he will be accepted. You have to be good on stage. So I mean,
But
a girl with the right now attitude will really go down.
But I guess it's the traditional outlook of their family members that you can't actually survive with a rock band for years. After all, you have to get married, make babies, and get it over with. So maybe a lot of chicks have tried their hand at rock bands, but they've suddenly gone vanished and whatever might be because of these reasons.
But the only girl who survived probably might be Yasmin.
Exactly.
But again, they also. But they also
Hats
do a
off
lot
to
of show. Yeah. But then again, I see a lot of girls in the mosh pit and everything. So I think probably they are the ones who will. Yeah, I know. Lot of girls in the mosh pit and lot of guys going pushing them and everything. But that's okay. I think it's
Watching for the pit.
Watching for the pit.
Yeah. That's okay. I think it's about time girls who are listening to this documentary, they start and come on perform on stage. I mean, music wise. That was great.
That was sexist of you. Very sexist.
What do you think about music? There are a lot of bands out there which mix religion with music. Do you think it's the right thing to do?
I honestly speaking, I'm telling you, I'm a total atheist kind of a person. I don't believe in religion. I don't even hate it in a way because I don't believe it to hate it. But the fact is, when bands, I know a lot of these new death metal bands, they talk on religion as if religion has screwed their life or something. Whereas nothing ever happened to them when it comes to religion. I have been screwed up my religion big time because I have been born in multicultural society. Nothing like that happened to me. I just feel like it's just a way that bands want to put it as if it's cool. You know, it's bands thing that talking about antichrist metal and all that. It's supposed to be cool. I think it's better they stick to the real things in life and sing about it. I personally think it's a very fancy thing to do right now.
Or Septa is basically just one religion that's metal. That's it.
अरे Lambo. Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, continue.
Amen. मेरे को भी शायद
It's a personal point of view about mixing religion and music. I guess it goes well with some bands, with some guys it doesn't. So for me, it's all personal. You just, I guess, being a musician is about freedom. You write about what you feel that's right or whatever. So for some guys, it might be cool.
What is your opinion about commercial music? Commercial music.
we love it. I love it. Especially if you had a rough day, you had a long day. There's no way you're gonna listen to metal in your car. You need some cool stuff to relax you. So it's okay once in a while.
We just heard that.
Huh?
We just heard that.
They
No,
just
I
heard
think
it.
there's no standard or there's no scale to measure what is commercial and what is not. Any music that's created has the potential to become a big hit. If it becomes a big hit, people call it commercial. If it doesn't work, it might be called underground. So I don't think so. There's a yardstick for commercial music. I guess for every listener, it's about fun, having fun. You like something, you like something. Irrespective of the genre. So I think it's about.
I feel that India is. I mean, it's not exactly a land where metal was born in. We are not Germans, or we are not exactly that kind of people. So India is still a land of classical and Bollywood music and everything. So even when somebody's making rock music, but if it's closely associated to the Bollywood culture, I guess it becomes commercial music. And some people like it, some people don't. It's their preferences.
Okay. So what are the changes that SEPTA has seen in the kind of crowd that receives them over the past 10 years? What are changes in the scene
Changes as far as the
you've seen?
crowd and the masses.
Not just the scene, not just the crowd, but the scene in general as well.
One of the SEPTA crowd joined the band later on after some 8 years or something. That is me.
And moreover, I think whatever bands are there right now in the basically in the rock scene right now are mainly generated from a lot of earlier they used to come from a lot of SEPTA gigs and stuff. So he's also an inspiration for all the other bands which have developed in these probably this particular decade.
So we have people coming up to us and saying, "Hey, we used to come to your gig, and we formed a band after watching you guys and all that." So it feels good. People have been watching us for the last 5-10 years. They've been forming bands, and bands are really doing good. So there are a lot of new potential upcoming bands coming up, which we really look forward to. And the scene has not really grown in the sense there are not too many places or venues left to play. Raz is shut down, and a lot of good places where there used to be regular concerts, those are shut down. So there are not too many regular concerts happening. Most of the college gigs or the colleges which used to promote rock shows and concerts, they don't want any metal bands anymore. So that's a kind of a hindrance for the metal scene. So I don't think that way the music scene has grown. But by the internet and by a lot of other things, a lot of music has come out, and there is a lot of accessibility to a lot of music. Because earlier we used to buy tapes and listen to tape recorded music. Now it's like CDs or MP3s or just download stuff. So a lot of international music is available. So there's a lot of new crowd who's listening to a lot of music, including metal, including other genres and stuff. So I guess it's improved that way. But I think a lot of organizers and sponsors have to come in the scene and pump up, and a lot of crowd has to come out and come for shows and support the whole thing to make this whole.
Basically, a lot of
revolution
people
work.
who are in influential positions, they have to have a very broad mind. Instead of forming a clan of certain bands and promoting that particular clan, they have to actually go out, look for talented bands. I'm not saying, come to us because we're talented. It's just that at least, make an effort, look for really talented bands and try to promote something apart from your usual, few. That's what is the only bother about for SEPTA right now.
Okay.
Commercial break.
I remember one, it was basically a first gig of mine, which not a first gig, in Goa. I was running a temperature of about 104 practically every day. We traveled by bus from here to Goa, and all the guys were together. And I was in a pretty
Shit mode.
on the verge of death basically. And in the month of probably Feb or March, I think. Yeah, I was on stage with obviously long pants, two t-shirts, a leather jacket, and a bloody beanie, and I'm shivering on stage at about 2:33 in the morning. I was basically down with suspected malaria, but when I did my blood test, it was absolutely fine. It was a viral infection, which took me for about probably more than 15 days. But eventually, what happened is we pulled the gig off. It was we played for an hour and a half. Hour and a half. I didn't even have that slightest of strength to really stand on stage, but all of us together pulled the gig off in such a way that the guys were all blown, in the crowd.
But the reason why this thing is so special for us is because when you look back at it, we three, that is me, Timir, and our then guitar bassist Janice, we three were rocking our asses off, and Gilroy was just glued to his place because even if he wanted to, he couldn't move his head because he was in a very bad shape. So that is when you look back at it, it's a very hilarious situation. Three guys are really doing their best, and this guy is just sitting. So in a way, it's a very comical situation, but it's to all credit to this guy.
It was terrific because it was one of the hugest crowd we ever played to, and the gig started at 12 in the night, and we were scheduled to play around 3 in the morning. So we were wondering what is going to happen. Is there going to be a crowd or anything? And you heard this guy like shivering, and we didn't know what to look up to. And the band before us was getting pebbles and stones on stage, so we were like really shit scared. And Goa, first time we played in Goa, so we didn't know what to expect, how the crowd would be, and all that. But from the time we came on till the time we left, we had an amazing experience. We have the whole thing recorded. We might put it up on YouTube very soon. So it was an amazing experience.
Also, that was the only gig where I actually stood and played. Generally, I never stand in just one particular position. So that is again a very
He lets his hair down the tree.
One of our other fond memories, one of the best gigs was IROC 2006.
Oh, right.
Which the videos are there on YouTube. So I guess that was one of the best IROCs I have ever seen, and the way the crowd responded to us from the word go, from our first song to the last song, it was amazing. I mean, the mosh pit and the whole crowd really made us feel very special that day. It was like our day, and we really had a good time.
And probably the most maximum crowd which IROC has ever produced.
That was again the best, fondest memory of the band is winning that prestigious event called IROC. We won it in 2003, and that was that time, that particular day when we played. It was some record turnout of around 7,000, 5,000 people. 7,000 people, which was the best yet. And that was the best, fondest memory I have of IROC and for Scepter. Winning that event, and when you actually recall that entire thing, of your name having announced on stage. And we guys were actually having no idea that we'll, come
and the
first or
crowd's
whatever.
chanting.
And the crowd's chanting for us when Farah was asking who might the winner be. And the crowd was chanting our name, and we were just going crazy because we were amongst the crowd and we were all scattered because we had no idea if we were going to win. So Timir was somewhere else, I was somewhere else, everybody was here and there. And when they said Scepter, it was a magical feeling for us because we just came running like mad dogs, and we just wandered off stage, and we were just going crazy. We couldn't even stand still on the stage. We were just going crazy. So that's the best memory I think we all have.
The last question.
Memory remains.
You guys have finally released your album last year after a decade. So, what are your future plans for the band? Are you guys planning a second album or EP, or what is the plan?
Bomb countable. Yeah. No, I didn't. Not with that. The future plans are basically, of course, to go uphill. Just keep going, as far as you can. But as everyone knows, everything depends. For a band, everything depends on the record label and the kind of push they give the band. So we have done our homework. We are equipped with whatever those guys ask us to do. But it's at the end of the day, it's what the record label thinks of us.
No, but I think we'll probably just promote our album for now because even though the album has come out such a long gap, we haven't yet promoted as yet. Still, a lot of I travel because of work, a lot of places in the country, and they all keep on asking for the Septa album. So I guess we haven't yet done justice to our own album. So we were thinking of some other new album now, but we'll probably first promote our this album.
Basically, there are no plans. We're just taking things as they come. As when gigs come in, shows happen, we'll be doing. So nothing. I mean, I guess we are all enjoying our music. So there's no fixed plan that we have to go this way or this route or we have to do this, we have to do that. We're just taking it because we're enjoying. At the end of the day, I think all bands have to have fun. If you're not enjoying doing what you're doing, then it's like basically forcing yourself to do things.